Elias acknowledged pre-game for her service to the club. No signs of that weakening. She's just a machine. Quite the metronome for this Sydney women's team. Outstanding football intelligence.
The Mariners for the first 2 seasons of the W League, and then Sydney FC since Teresa Polias. School teacher when she's not playing football. So consistent every week, every season, and throughout the 13 seasons of the W League. There's a Sydney young gun, Charlotte McLean. Tobin sees the space for Abini down the left. They seem to be using her a little bit more in this second half, and Abini was able to ride out the challenge of Copus Brown, and now comes a free kick Sydney FC's way. Will there be a card to follow? Here goes Olivia Price's way.
Had a good game tonight, Price. But this is an unenviable task. Copus Brown showing good speed to get goal side, and the tangle's more accidental than anything else, but nevertheless the attack was brought to an abrupt and premature end because of Price's effort. Card the result.
So Police, does she go for power, or does she just try to dink it? She goes for power, and in the end it just floats wide. She hasn't scored in the W League in a couple of years, and that last goal she scored back in 2018 against Brisbane, I had the pleasure of watching and calling that match. It was an absolute ripper of a goal. So she might have only scored a couple in the W League, but she doesn't score bad ones. As you can see, their most appearances in the history of the W League. Teresa Polias across Central Coast Mariners and Sydney FC. Her career has spanned. One thing that has assisted her going past Claire Polkinghorne in recent seasons is the fact that Sydney consistently make finals. Brisbane didn't last season, so that got a couple more ahead. So Chauvet and Orgel just lacking options at the moment. Copus Brown presents.
You're lacking options, maybe, but you look at Margot Chauvet, young teenager, made her W League debut in the opening round of the season.
Space here for Western Sydney in the form of Nevin down the left. And the free kick has gone against Western Sydney. Well, they look in shock. This time it was Courtney Vine doing the defensive work on Courtney Nevin. Was there a free kick in their halves?
Look at the speed of Nevin firstly. No, should have been a corner. Easy to criticise the refs. They got one split-second look at it. Depends on the angle, but it was quite a recovery. But just to finish that point on Margot Chauvet, young teenager, really up against it game one in that dominant Sydney performance. Now, third game into her W League career. Looks a prospect as well. Really strong tackler, committed to the ball, comfortable in possession.
And of course, an incredible story. I know it's been touched on already in the W League coverage this season. 3 years old, was in the Ivory Coast where her father was working, and they had to get helped out by the French Foreign Legion. She doesn't remember too much about it, but an incredible story to get to Australia, where they arrived in 2005. Tobin across to McLean. Now Orgel, just got plenty of toe. He played through the midfield from Price. Tried to find Gomez, but it broke down for Western Sydney. Abini off the left. Looking for a teammate. Polias presented. And player 1-2, and now Ali Green with the arm up and in space. Hawkesby tracks it down. Does well to keep it inside, but two Wanderers around her. And the ball forward for Copus Brown. Just no teammates up there. Karma's putting pressure on her former teammate in Teresa Polias. Julianne Russell. Price may just open up here for Wanderers down the left. Gomez. Orgel. And Gomez's pass finds the sky blue shirt of Hawkesby. There's a swift counter-attack from Princess Abini. She has Seamson in the middle as the ball just run away from her. It has, but they do get the second prize of a corner kick, Sydney FC.
Well, tentative from Danica Matos, you can understand why. Good game that she's had, but was exposed on the penalty incident. And a little bit hesitant to maybe try and win that at intercept, and then foots it with Abini, which is excellent, but still, after shepherding all the way deep into her own penalty area, needed the excellent cover of Margot Chevet, just to underline the point about the youngsters' early development.
Substitution for Sydney FC, replacing number 18, Taylor Ray, is number 6, Claire Wheeler.
So here's the corner for Sydney FC. Polias bending it in dangerously.
Is number 8, Rachel.
And the first touch in sky blue colours for Claire Wheeler, who's replaced Taylor Ray. Back from a quad injury, which kept her out of the first 2 matches of the season. Polias. And now Seamson. And ball whipped across goal and taken well by Newbon in the end.
It was nice from Ali Green. Actually, it was Claire Wheeler swinging that one in. Her first 2 touches have been pretty decent balls into the danger area. Great pickup for Sydney. One of the best players in the W League, in my opinion, Claire Wheeler. See if she can ram home the advantage against her former teammate at the Jets, Libby Copus Brown.
Seamson with a touch. And you can see Rachel Lowe as well out there for Sydney FC. Can she produce another spectacular strike like she did last week against Newcastle? And it wasn't just the strike. She looked so assured when she was out there for Sydney FC. She previously played for Western Sydney Wanderers, 27 matches for them. And Seamson leading the charge with Chauvet. Another corner for the Sky Blues, and they're building some real pressure here now.
Yeah, turning the screws, but it's a good recovery that time from Chauvet. Seamson got the better of her. The positional sense, experience, and it turned into a good foot race into the penalty area. The recovery in the end was sufficient by Margot Chauvet.
So Polias, tall timber of Abini, also Vine rising. Kalmus's reaction said it all there, so they'll do it all again from the other side. Polias picking out Brush, but the header, this time she got it on target, but not the power or the placement to trouble Newbon. Matos floating it across. And now the link up down the right. Rachel Lowe on towards Seamson. And Remy Seamson tracks after it, slides it in behind here for Lowe. Tight angle with the byline. Chauvet did pretty well to get it away from danger. Copus Brown. They really just can't escape at the moment. Their own half, Western Sydney Wanderers. The question is, Harps. Oh, here's some pressure on Newbon. Almost self-inflicted there from Western Sydney Wanderers, and this is just the pressure building from Sydney FC. How do they get out of their own half?
Well, they've got to hang in there, which they've done really well. Chauvet with the bouncy pass, a little bit of panic from Newbon. That sort of indicates the little bit of pressure under which they feel at the moment. Sydney exerting their dominance, but it's a test of the mentality, firstly, from the Wanderers. Just stay in the fight. Keep competing for the ball, keep chasing opponents, closing down space, working together, and believe that something will come out of it. That's not a bad defensive effort. Compressed the field nicely. Defence was up, so the through ball had to be pinpoint, and it wasn't from Lowe. A decent player just quietly to have coming off the bench. Good depth, Sydney.
Well, just going through that, their bench tonight, Wheeler, Lowe, Toby, Ristadulu, and Ristadulu played a lot of matches, a large chunk of Sydney's season last year. So that is a quality bench, and then the backup keeper is Katie Offer. Hasn't played in the W League just yet, but in terms of outfield players, that is some experience sitting on the pine.
That's terrific quality. And Angie Ristadulu has had a bit of back trouble, 1 or 2 injuries coming into the season. Otherwise, she might have been expected to start in Ante Juric's first 11, but then we've not been able to take that spot. You look at how well Ali Green has done, for example. Not that she needs much encouragement. Green, she's been excellent, has got good pedigree herself. Ristadulu forced to wait, and of course she was badly injured in that round 1 match against the Wanderers with a late concussion. There she is, daughter of Eric, wonderful player in his own right.
And you can check out her discussing her father and how much he helped her career through the W League socials. And Sydney FC as well, so get onto that if you haven't already. And now Russell, almost played in by Copus Brown down the right, but again snuffed out by Green.
Well, there we had that first head-to-head of Copus Brown just in front, carrying the ball at pace, and chasing her down was Claire Wheeler. Know each other's games intimately. Wheeler 1 out, sliding in to tow the ball away from Copus Brown.
There's that foul from Galea on Sydney captain Teresa Polias. So while they're just struggling to create any chances and get out of their own half at the moment, Wanderers, they're only down by a goal. Sydney will want to double that lead here. Green still going all the way, cuts it across. Seamson, is it across the line? Oh, wow. Remy Seamson again denied.
Well, I think that was a remarkable clearance from Orgel. I know it was a remarkable clearance. It just remains to be confirmed that it was Nicola Orgel.
Well, I think Seamson had the arm up celebrating. She thought it was in, and it looked like it from here, and then a boot came from nowhere. We'll see if the replay confirms that, but what a run from Green.
What a great season she's having. It's a fantastic run, beautiful little feint. Oh, it's amazing from Orgel. That is a fantastic clearance off the line. Ali Green has just done superbly. Wow. Spectacular defending.
Surely that wins save of the week. The goalkeepers union may not agree. Here's the ball off the bar and it's finally across the line. And who is it? It's Ellie Brush. Again against the Western Sydney Wanderers. She loves scoring in Sydney derbies. And her fine form this season rewarded with another goal.
Well, but for the brilliance of Ogle, they would have had this goal before. There's a danger this is going to swing out, but it comes off the crossbar. And fortuitously for Sydney, you have to say that Ellie Brush is right there. And she bangs it home, doesn't make any mistake at all. Not sure if the corner was what Teresa Polias was aiming for, but the person who reacted quickly off the bar was Ellie Brush.
And now Wanderers throwing players forward here, trying to get themselves back in the game. But it's going to be a real mountain to climb now. Russell slipping it up and over the top for Copus Brown. Matos making the run, but Brush shutting down any forward movement from the Wanderers. Wheeler and Lowe now connecting, the two substitutes. And now Seamson tempted to be played in behind. Newbon just thumps a boot through it. She got some distance on that.
Oh, it's good goalkeeping. Again, Claire Wheeler is threading the ball through for Seamson, but Newbon had positioned herself well out of the penalty area to sweep up that possibility.
Lowe plays the 1-2 with Vine. And she finds Seamson. May go all the way for a beanie, but Matos with the clearance. Now Karmas. It's very much been a lone ranger in that final third for Wanderers tonight.
Very important work being done by Princess Sabini. Because every time the Wanderers settle in possession in the middle third of the pitch, they're looking to get Anika Mados down on the right-hand side, but Abini is just patrolling step by step with her immediate opponent, taking out the passing option. Great shift by Princess Abini. Won the penalty to give Sydney the first goal lead, and then Ellie Brush making it 2 just a moment or two ago on the back of that remarkable clearance from Nicola Ogle. I mean, that will be replayed over and over. Not bad for a girl. Here's the injury to Russell. Not bad for an athlete who didn't start playing football till she was 12, Nicola Ogle. Spent 11 years in Asia with her parents doing the career thing. The parents were, that is. Comes back to Australia, plays for Mossman, and then the football career begins. Here it is, along with a law degree at the Australian National University. So she's got a little bit going for her in life.
Maybe that was the skills learned in quarantine. Tight spaces. So Georgia Yeomandale is out there replacing Rosie Gallier from the commentary box onto the pitch. She's been doing a lot of work for Fox this season. And plenty of work also for Western Sydney Wanderers. And Julianne Russell is going to stay out there. The Irish international who actually was born in Galway. Her brother plays for Sligo Rovers, John Russell. And you might know there's a song by Ed Sheeran. Harps is looking away because you can't see his reaction.
I'm waiting for the punchline, Benny.
I think everyone knows. I'll let you do your research. You can hear the frustration from the sideline. Dean Heffernan offering words of encouragement. Second season as W League coach, Dan Heffernan.
There's a few tackles flying around at the moment. Very, very fiery, the last few exchanges. And the Wanderers, stung by the 2-goal scoreline, they'll feel like they've fought really hard tonight. We're a distant second in a 2-horse race, round 1. They've closed that gap significantly, and the frustration of being 2 goals down here seems to be telling. Fought really hard. The Sydney quality has still shone.
I think the frustrating thing is, and it helps, that penalty in the first half. They were right in the game. And a one moment, you make a mistake, you stick your leg in, as Matos did on that occasion as Abini went down the left edge of the box. You give away the penalty, and then all of a sudden, Sydney FC are in front, and they just build on that, don't they? Quality side like them. Oh, almost in behind for Lena Karmas, but it was Ellie Brush does the job at the other end and at the defensive end as well.
That's a hell of a reaction from Ellie Brush. She's doing so well. She's got the goal. She's had 2 3/4 very good games in the new W League season. That's a brilliant reaction. Karmas is in then, and you have to back up from that position to score.
She was part of the Matildas Talent ID camp in November, was Ellie Brush. 2 appearances for the Matildas. The last of those in 2012, a long time. And she get back there. Nevin across goal. Tempted to be punched by Wyman. And Police gets up and under that clearance. A touch, a disappointing one from Price. And that tells the story of the second half. Dominant. A real sky blue wave. And here it comes via Vine down the left on this occasion. Ran out of space. McLean. Floating it all the way to the back post, and Rachel Lowe just offside.
It's a good ball from McLean. Another one who's doing very well this campaign. Off the bench, Rachel Lowe. She's a great athlete. She's a good player. And you look at who Ante Juric brings off the bench. It's onside too. Should have been play on. It's a poor call from the assistant on the far touchline. When the ball's played, she was clearly onside. It's a bit of a get-out-of-jail free card there for the Wanderers. Ante Juric goes to the bench. He brings on Wheeler. He brings on Lowe. Very difficult for a tiring opponent.
Now slipped in behind. Yeoman Dale asking some serious questions of Sydney FC at the back there.
To deal with that sort of quality. But Yeoman Dale will have her own things to say on that. She's a very experienced, high-quality player in her own right.
Yes, she is. Her last goal was actually scored at this ground against Melbourne City a couple of years back. Ball back in, looking for Gomez. Now Police. And intercepted by Matos, and curling it across goal. Not close enough to the on-rushing Gomez.
It was a very confident interception. Well done by Matos. But then in that position, it was really not the outcome that she might have delivered.
Wheeler's going to track it down for Sydney. And 2 Wanderers quickly across to pinch the ball. There's a problem for the Sky Blues, and it's Courtney Vine. Let's hope this isn't too serious. Just seemed to fall awkwardly. Would you say she's been player of the match tonight? As we see Sydney I'm going to stick with this substitution. So Charlotte McLean replaced by Angelique Ristadoulou. Hang on a second. They're going to change that. I thought for a moment they might have been thinking of taking Courtney Vine off after that injury scare, but no. McLean leaving the pitch and Ristadoulou heads out there. And Vine looks as though she can't continue. And my question to you, Harps, has she been the best player on the pitch tonight?
Well, being the top couple, I think she and Ellie Brush, I mean, there have been plenty of good players from both teams on the field, but Courtney Vine has been the biggest game changer. Princess Abini won the penalty, and she's an ever-present threat. I think Courtney Vine, so far, still time for the Wanderers to get something out of this.
Russell slipping it in behind. Copus Brown, good delivery. Wyman took it well. Confident through the air. She's looking for just her third clean sheet in W League history. And it would be her second in 3 with Sydney FC. Final quarter hour of the match now. We're inside. Western Sydney really have to find something now.
There's more trouble brewing for the Wanderers. Lira Toby about to make her entry. I wonder if it's going to be for that player Courtney Vine.
You'd be thinking so after that injury scare. We'll get confirmation from Rebecca Mackey, the 4th official. Copus Brown put under pressure by her former teammate Claire Wheeler. And now Price, Chauvet and Orgel. If you haven't seen her goal line clearance, just check out the W League socials during the week. It'll do well to miss out on save of the week, even though it wasn't a goalkeeper. It was high quality from Orgel. So there's confirmation that Courtney Vine is done and dusted tonight. What an evening she has had. Creating chances herself and for teammates. And now Lira Toby will look to do the same. Such a dynamic player. Scored a couple for Brisbane last season in the W League, Lira Toby. Can she score a first for Sydney FC? Tonight may be the night for her, but at the moment, Sydney have got some defensive work to do. Russell and Matos, should say Copus Brown with the back heel. How about that? Matos just got stuck under her for a moment. Elias is able to get it away to Seamson. And now Wheeler striding forward into open space. Western Sydney came across. 2 players, Gomez and...
Well, they're playing this one out, the Wanderers. Still 10 to go, still believing. That's really strong work from Isabel Gomez on Claire Wheeler. And the little back heel upfield, the play before from Copus Brown, just again highlights her talent. And as the Wanderers season grows, which we believe it can, certainly hope for the girls' sake it does, we'll see even more from Copus Brown with a team that starts hitting some momentum, can really bring the best out in her. Of course, her challenge is to be providing football that inspires the rest of the team into that growth as well. But she's certainly a talent. Really clever player, Libby Copus Brown.
And that's the challenge for Wanderers and a number of teams this year with so much change around the W League, a lot of Matildas heading over to Europe, is that squads are very different this season and they've just maybe got a little bit take a little bit of time to gel. And that's certainly the case for Wanderers this year. Abini evading the initial tackle and then trying to find Alira Toby. But it was Matos. She's been good down the right for Western Sydney defensively. It was just the giving away the penalty, the one blot on her copybook. That's what'll disappoint her the most. Outside of that, she's been very, very solid for Wanderers. Ristadulu to find the pass forward, but Price got a toe in for Wanderers. Elias tried to find Ristadulu, but Yeoman-Dale put the pressure on her. Inside the final 10 now. Is there a third for Sydney? Rachel Lowe just swivelling and hitting. Why not after what she pulled out last week? Here she is again. Sliding it in behind for Abini. And she sped away from Matos. Couldn't get the ball across to Seamson because Chauvet came across just to block her path to goal or her path to Seamson.
Well, an incredible number of blocks again tonight from the youngster Chauvet. That's a pretty daunting prospect. See, Princess Abini just needed the toe poke at that stage towards goal, but opted to go the extra step and then play it with the left foot. And the very, very ultra committed Margot Chauvet there to save the day once again for the Wanderers.
Dean Heffernan and the Wanderers coaching staff were very impressed with her in that Matilda's ID camp, the Talent ID camp in November. Margot Chauvet. This is Isabel Gomez. Tried to go with the outside of the boot towards Karmas or Russell. Now Wheeler onto Abini. Tried to put the head down and take on Matos, who looked to just be limping there for a moment. Space and time for Wheeler to find Seamson, who turned towards goal. Chauvet there, diving in. Play allowed to go on. Now the free kick is going the way of Western Sydney.
If there was no contact on the ball in that challenge with Wheeler, I don't know how Chauvet got away with it. I mean, I have been singing her praises. I think she's terrific, but that was, well, reckless. She threw herself at the ball. If she got it, fine. If there's no contact with the ball, she sent Claire Wheeler skittling. It's got to be a free kick. Somehow the ref said play on.
And in the end, Lowe goes into the book for a yellow card as Copus Brown tries to bring the ball down to her feet. She may have done enough to win a corner. Yes, she has. She has only scored one W League goal, Libby Copus Brown. And if you missed it, it was an absolute cracker for the Jets against Sydney FC a couple of years back. She wouldn't mind repeating the dose. It doesn't have to be spectacular, she'll be thinking. Just get it in the back of the net. Big moment here for Wanderers. If they can score here, it'll make for a frantic final few minutes. The corner was dangerous at that near post. Orgel. Copus Brown's touch too heavy. Green onto it like a flash. Now Gomez. And just pinched by Rachel Lowe. Too much strength there in the midfield. Ristadulu. Yeoman-Dale for Western Sydney. Gomez tried to slide it across to the left, but pressure from Ellie Brush just too great. And I think the bright signs for Wanderers coming out of this one, as we've touched on already, Harps, is the return also of Nicola Orgel. She looks match fit and ready, and she's just going to add a little bit more steel to that defence in the coming weeks. Here she is on the ball. She replaced Caitlin Cooper, who went off injured in that first half after she was struck on the chin by a strike from Courtney Vine. Another change here for Western Sydney. So Julianne Russell is going to be replaced by Aideen Keane. What a season she had in the NPL New South Wales. 9 goals in 7 matches for the Football New South Wales Institute side. Debuted in the round 1 Sydney Derby this year. And she conjure up something in the final minutes here. Toby and Wheeler linking up down the right, but it goes awry for Sydney, but they're back on the ball now. Wheeler just slides it out wide. And Toby has given up the chase. Orgel finds Newbon. Floats it out in front of Keane. Chevet. This is good build up here from Western Sydney. Plenty of pastures out to the left if they're good enough, and the pass from Gomez, so disappointing.
Not quite sure what she had in mind there, what she saw when she picked the ball up. She had Courtney Nevin down the left with plenty of space to attack down the left flank. Quite sure what Isabel saw then.
And a beanie side down again there. The ball sprays out to Rachel Lowe. Now Wheeler trying to angle the pass towards Green. In the end, it all breaks down for Sydney. So it seems the Wanderers' 100th match in the W League is going to end in disappointment. So here comes Sydney FC striding forward, Low, spinning and turning, well blocked initially. Ristadulu, now Toby, and over for a Sydney corner. So maybe they can add to the scoreline and make it a carbon copy of that round 1 Derby win, where it was 3-0. Abini with a couple, Courtney Vine with the other. Tonight it's been Hawkesby and Brush. Ellie Brush's 20th in the W League. Not a bad return for a defender. 20 in 130 W League appearances for Ellie Brush. So Police cutting it back. Wheeler giving chase. And winning the free kick. Keane a little too eager to win back the ball for Western Sydney. So Ali Green, here she is looking for a beanie down the left. There was no one tracking her. She cuts it across, trying to find Sampson. Now it's Low. Somehow it's blocked by the Wanderers. And it was on target from Rachel Lowe. She's becoming a specialist off the bench and potentially scoring goals. There's the shot count. Absolute domination from the Sky Blues, and a lot of those coming in the second half. Seamson has the run of Wheeler and uses her. Low in the middle, also Toby.
The fourth official has announced there'll be a minimum of 4 minutes of time.
Can't cut it back.
Well, you asked about 10 minutes ago who the best players on the field were, and Courtney Vine was the centre of the discussion. There haven't been many better than Margot Chevet tonight. Very impressive start to her senior football career at W League level at least.
But my question is, Harps, can you give player of the match to a player whose side has conceded 2 goals and they're a defender?
Well, the first goal was a penalty. Chevet had nothing to do with that. The second goal was a corner off the crossbar. Chevet had nothing to do with that. So yes, on that balance, if goals against is one of your measuring sticks, it's not probably going to be enough to get Western Sydney back into the game, although 3 minutes to go, they want to do something quickly if they're going to do that. Sydney, just a more stable, more talented team at this point of the season, with great depth coming off the bench. Very difficult to counter that. And you look at Rachel Lowe, for example. She wouldn't be on the bench for many clubs in the W League. But from the Wanderers' viewpoint, just a much more compelling and combative performance tonight.
Seamson swivelling. Searched and found Dabini. And Lowe, look at that first touch. And second, just toying with the Wanderers. Ristadulu floating it to the back post where Toby was arriving, but the ball just a touch overhit.
That was a teaser from Ristadulu. She's been busy and impressive since coming on. Just dinked that one over to the back stick, out of reach for Alira Toby, but the contribution from Ristadulu off the bench has been good. She's got a big job to dislodge Charlotte McLean, who's been excellent. But right fullback for Sydney as well. It's great competition for spots in the Sydney W League team.
Green now finding Abini, and Matos coming across and screening. So Sydney are heading towards the top of the W League ladder when all 3 points are confirmed in under 70 seconds now. Seamson just dinking one over the top, and well, rushing through is Toby. Western Sydney just standing there ball watching, and Toby almost came through and pounced for Sydney FC. So next week Sydney have the bye, and then they take on Newcastle Jets at home on the 31st of January. And Western Sydney take on the Jets next week at number 2 Sports Ground. That one should be a real tight tussle. It was 2-1 Western Sydney won in their last match against the Jets. You expect the tables could be turned in Newcastle next week. We'll wait and see. The Jets in action tomorrow against Brisbane. Big afternoon of football. The Jets against Macarthur in the A-League before that at 4 p.m. and a Melbourne derby for the 2nd week in a row. If you couldn't get enough of it last week, it's back again this week from 4 p.m. There's Copus Brown feeding the pass wide to Yeomandale. It's a decent delivery from Yeomandale and scrambled away. And it's 3 from 3 for Sydney FC. They go to the top of the table with another dominant display in the derby. 15 wins out of 18 Sydney derbies. It really is sky blue. Ante Juric will be very pleased. He hasn't been able to pouch a premiership in his head coaching stint at Sydney FC. The 1 championship after 3 grand finals. Well, they are moving towards that. Sydney FC in season 13 of the W League. Full time at Stadium Australia. Sydney FC 2, Western Sydney 0.
Yeah, what a start to the season it has been for Sydney FC. Another dominant performance from them over the Western Sydney Wanderers. Mark Bosnich, 2-0 the final result. The Wanderers, they did put in a bit of fight there, but Sydney FC just too good in the end.
Yeah, Sydney FC were exactly what you just said, just a little bit too good, and especially in the moments that it really mattered. Look, Dean Heffernan and his staff will be happy with the fact, especially between around the 70th and 75th minute, where Western Sydney Wanderers just went 2-0 down. Would have been easy for them to say, oh no, that's it. They came back at Sydney, and I think Sydney were a little bit surprised as well. You know, a couple of times Jada Wyman had to be at their best just to make sure that there wasn't going to be any sort of shaky finishes, so to speak. But overall, like I said, Sydney FC far too good, and we'll probably look back and think to themselves, on another night we could have had a couple more.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, it's hugs and smiles all around from a Sydney FC perspective, but disappointment from Dean Heffernan as well, because they must feel like they've taken a step forward and then 2 steps back a little bit, because they were a lot better against the Jets last week.
Yeah, they were. There's no doubt about that. And yes, disappointed. You never ever, you know, not disappointed when you lose a football game, but I still think that they were better value tonight than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. When they played Sydney FC in that opening game. That game for me, that would have sort of sent shudders, you know, through my spine. Watching my team basically look as though they weren't going to score, they were just going to concede on every occasion that Sydney attacked. Tonight, that wasn't the case. And like I said, there were moments in the first half and then the second as well, where they had some really good moments, and especially in the second half, like I said, you know, after they conceded the second, would have been easy for them to throw the towel, and they didn't. They kept coming back. Like I said, so there's no need for them to be too disappointed, because if you get too down and too disappointed, it doesn't really augur well for the next time you play against a team.
Someone who put in a solid shift for the home side for Sydney FC is Ellie Brush, and she's with Victoria Slater.
Yeah, she did. Ellie, right place, right time, but you still had to finish it. Must give you a real buzz scoring in a Sydney derby.
Yeah, it does, in front of a great crowd. We love our fans, and yeah, it was a great joy to just get one in the back of the net.
I'm sure it puts you on the Matildas' radar, a performance like that.
Oh, I don't really worry about that. I just play, you know, it's cliche, but literally I just worry about that week, and, you know, that's all I've always done and all I can do, really. Just try and be consistent and, you know, do my best for the team.
Thanks, Ellie. Well done tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, consistent she is, Ellie Brush. What a performer, both in defence and in attack, as we've seen tonight. I love the way she's so humble. She did play it down. I mean, we've been speaking about Ellie Brush potentially coming into that Matilda's fold, especially when it comes to the centre of defence and the defenders. And she did say that she's not playing AFL football and AFLW to focus on her W League this season, Bozza, but a great shift from her yet again, very consistent.
Both her and Natalie Tobin in the central defence are very strong, got a very good understanding with each other. They're athletic, they can play football as well when they need to, and she'll be delighted. All central defenders are delighted when they score a goal, even if it was only from a metre out.
Exactly right. You're still going to put it in the back of the net,
I've seen them miss before, don't worry about that, I've seen them miss.
Well, let's get some reaction now from Dean Heffernan. He's with Tori.
Yeah, Dean, another derby defeat. How do you sum up that performance?
Yeah, look, I'm very happy with the girls. They gave us everything that they had tonight. It wasn't enough for tonight, but it's plenty for us to work on going forward. And yeah, look, still can't fault any of the girls in terms of effort, the amount of running and chasing back, defending. That's all you can ask at times. I think with the ball, we can just... Look, we need to go back to the drawing board, back to basics a little bit. We saw glimpses of what we can do against Newcastle, and I think we can expect to see a lot more of that next week and in games coming forward. Sydney's a strong team, experienced, been together a long time, so it's good for us. You know, we enjoy games like this. It lets us know where we're at and what we need to do. You know, I think overall, there's lots of things that we can work on after tonight for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned that there are a lot of things you can work on. What are those?
Well, look, for us, it's more so getting our foot on the ball. You know, when we win possession, we tend to give away that first pass and put ourselves under a little bit of pressure. We're doing well at the back there, beating that first line of their press in Remy. We just need a little bit more movement ahead of the ball and trying to get our midfield on the ball to face forward and then circulate. If there's no one there, then we change sides and we find a free player on the other side of the field, and that's everything that we do, everything we work on, and we showed that last week. There was glimpses of it tonight, and there'll definitely be more work done to be able to show that in the games going forward.
Thanks, Dean. Good luck in the next game.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, there's a bit to think about for the Western Sydney Wanderers, and as well, they lost their fearless leader, Caitlin Cooper, who wanted to stay on the pitch, but of course concerns over a concussion too, which was a huge blow because she does lead by example, one of their senior players out there, Bozza, as well. But looking at Sydney FC, well, it was that moment, the penalty shout. No problems with the penalty shout, right, for you. Danica Matos on Princess Abini. And then it was Mackenzie Hawkesby that stepped up to the penalty spot to score against her former side.
Yeah, look, and to be fair to Danica Matos, throughout the whole game, even after this, she was excellent. Princess Abini is one of the most dangerous players in this whole league. And she's done an excellent job on her. But at that moment in time, and that's what it is with really good players, what they do is that they don't give up just because you're looking after them. They'll keep going and keep going and that's what Princess Abini did. And yes, 100% penalty, a right decision by Kelly Jones and well tucked away by Hawkesby.
Yeah, it was indeed. Nicola Orgel, Remy Simpson, she'll be so disappointed she didn't get on the score sheet tonight. Yeah. I shouldn't laugh about it because I've spoken to her about it. She said the only thing missing this season is a goal. She came within a whisker tonight, not just on one occasion, but two. Nicola Orgel, amazing with her defensive movement.
Yeah, 100%. And you hear this, and this is... Again, this is when you know things aren't really going for you. Maybe you're trying too hard. This is amazing by Orgel. Look at that.
What about that for skill, boss?
Yeah, no, forget about skill. That's just wonderful athleticism, flexibility. That is just fantastic. And here's the goal from Ellie Brush. Courtney Newbond, who was excellent, made an unbelievable save in the first half. Got herself in a little bit of trouble here. And off the crossbar, and Ellie Brush was right on the spot to make sure it went in.
Yeah, it looked good as well because the two goal scorers for Sydney FC were former Western Sydney Wanderers players. It's looking pretty good from a Sydney FC perspective. I know that people have kind of said, looking at what Melbourne Victory did in that 6-0 thumping against Melbourne City, that they could be the team to catch. But Sydney are there or thereabouts.
Well, I haven't seen Melbourne Victory play yet, so I can only go off the teams that I've seen play. And the teams that I've seen play, Sydney FC are by far the best team thus far. Western Sydney Wanderers will see them again in action. I think it's on the 23rd of January against Newcastle. But so far for me, it's been Sydney FC. Yeah,
Sydney do have a bye next week. We spoke about that huge Melbourne derby, that 6-0 thumping. Lisa Devanna, magic as well, where we've got the rematch heading your way live on Fox Sports tomorrow afternoon. Bozzo, warning signs and warning bells were ringing from a Melbourne City perspective, and Victory were looking great. We know that they've really recruited well this season.
On these highlights that I saw, they looked absolutely devastating. But look, regardless of what team you are in the world, when you lose 6-0, it's more than alarm. Well, they have to regroup. And they're a champion team, Melbourne City. We know the success they've had recently. There's no doubt about that. But there's going to be a bit of soul-searching in that dressing room. There's no doubt about that because 6-0 is 6-0.
It is indeed, and that one is heading your way. Of course, a rematch between Victory and City tomorrow afternoon live on Fox Sports. Bozza, thanks so much for your company tonight.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, everyone.
Really enjoyed it coming live from Stadium Australia. Thank you so much for joining us. We could see the two results in the Sydney derby. It was Sydney FC getting it done in the W League 2-0, and earlier it was 1-1 in the Sydney derby as well in the A League. See you very soon. Good night.
Fox Sports production.
This program brought to you by Bet365. Gamble responsibly. And Macca's. The El Maco and McRib are back.
The PGA Tour proudly presents the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, live second-round coverage of the Sony Open in Hawaii. Beautiful weather has greeted the players once again for day 2 of the Sony Open in Hawaii. What else would you expect in Honolulu?